ready, yes, sir.
All right, let's bring this meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Morton?
Here.
Commissioner Connor? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Cordell? Here. Commissioner Fowler?
Here.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Mayor Black?
Present. Let's bow for invocation. Dear God, our Father in heaven, once again grateful and thankful for your blessings upon this town. Thank you for each and every elected official that's present tonight. Thank you for their duty and their representation of the town. We pray, God, that as we go into this meeting that we'll have our town in consideration and the people that we're representing also. We do pray your blessings and favors in Jesus' name. Amen. First item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? So carried. Next item. Any comments from attendees?
No one signed up ahead of time, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if anyone here wishes to address the board or not.
Okay. Approval of the February 9th regular meeting minutes. We have a motion. Second. We have a second. Robin?
Yes.
All in favor? So carried. Approval of the February 9th closed session meeting minutes. We have a motion. Robin?
Motion, second.
And Wade seconds. Okay. All in favor? So carried. Moving right along. New business. Why we came early. Fiscal year 2024 budget discussions.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I have several items that I want to review with the board tonight. First, I have two resolutions before you tonight specifically requesting federal and state funding for some large capital improvement projects. If you will recall, about 2 years ago, we were quite successful as being the first municipality to publicly lobby the General Assembly and the United States Congress for approximately $6.5 million in direct allocations for infrastructure repair and many other necessary projects. I would like to recommend two new resolutions be adopted this evening, one to go to our representatives in the General Assembly and then our United States congressional delegation. I've had several conversations with our local delegations about projects that may be of high priority that the General Assembly may take into consideration as they're working towards their operating budget for this year. Commissioner Fowler, Ms. Rowan, Mr. Green, and myself went to Raleigh a few weeks ago where we discussed some of these projects at the town and state dinner with our state senator and state representative. And I also have formal funding requests pending with Representative Torbett's office for some of these projects. I have 5 specific projects listed that I think would be competitive, specifically on the infrastructure side. If you'll recall, we were pursuing a grant through the state that we had official engineering drawings done for sewer line rehabilitation, water line replacements, and a second interconnect with the city of Gastonia. Those are shovel ready to go. I think that they would be of high priority, and I think they would be very attractive to the state and federal government as we are ready to go on those. I've also included our space needs studies from 2020 to request additional funding for public facility funding. So those 5 projects are specifically listed in this resolution. I would like for the board to consider these, to adopt these, and authorization to direct me to send these to Raleigh and to Washington in the hope that some, all, or part of these projects can be funded.
All right, I'd entertain
I'll make a motion.
Want to discuss?
There's a typo in these.
Okay, where?
Ranlo, North Carolina.
1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph.
1, 2, 3.
Commissioner Ranlo.
Ranlo. Okay. I'll get that changed.
On both pages.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then I got a question on the line item number 1. Was the public facility funding, was that engineering study done for that project, or was it?
It was. We used LKC Engineering and Creech and Associates back in, I believe that was 2020, 2021. We had the Citizen Advisor Master Planning Board at the time, went to them, worked with staff, and then it came to the board. I think there were some of those meetings where we went, and actually you, Mr. Fowler, we went and looked at a few of those facilities that they worked on. But those are, actually, if you flip back a few pages, those space needs are ready. We have renderings ready, and LKC Engineering did provide preliminary engineering studies on those reports. Essentially, it'll require somewhat of additional designs, but it is essentially shovel ready. And then if you go to the back, we have the Town of Ranlo infrastructure project showing exactly what we're going to do with the sewer line replacement, the second interconnect, and those water line replacements. Those are certainly shovel ready and of great need because the majority of those lines do meet many state requirements of being 50 years of age or older.
Now I would entertain.
I'll make a motion to.
Doug's made a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Katie seconds. All in favor? So carried.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, I would like to go over a preliminary review of the fiscal year 24 budget. Ms. Rowan and I have been working the past few weeks with department head with each other to ensure that we had as much information as we could possibly provide for you guys this evening. I had sent out some preliminary information for your review, and then today Sarah and I made some additional changes based on year-to-date actuals with where we stand in fiscal year 23 and where we're projecting to be in fiscal year 24. Before you tonight, there are two columns that we have. To the left, which is in the black, is a revenue neutral budget. This operates the general fund on the same amount of ad valorem taxes that we budgeted to take in fiscal year 23. This also takes into consideration the capital outlay projects that department heads have submitted. That includes within the police department the replacement of 3 computers, the replacement of the drone, the forward financing payment for 2 vehicles that were approved in last year's budget that will continue on for another several years. It includes 3 service vehicles for public works at a 3-year financing agreement of $120,000, and it includes roughly 15 to 30% increase in maintenance and repair of equipment, fuel, and other line items that have increased and that are going to require additional funding for next year due to inflation and the rising costs of material. In the sanitation budget, we also have provided for new tires for the garbage truck. As far as I know, we have not completely replaced all of the tires on the garbage truck since those were purchased. So that's certainly a much-needed capital project that would need to be funded. And then we have some maintenance and repair costs put in for a chipper truck. Mr. Green, Mr. Harper, we're going to work together to see if we can come up with some rough estimates to see if a used vehicle for a chipper truck may be more advantageous, or to repair what we have in order to make sure that we're able to provide those services. From the governing board standpoint, that's another line item that we have budgeted additional funds this year. We have an election, which of course will be around $4,800 that we'll have to budget for the Board of Elections. And then we have added a separate line item for attorney fees in this upcoming budget that was not in the prior budget. So on the left, we have that revenue neutral projection. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys may have on the revenue side. Administration, we have made just minor adjustments based on where we are with year-to-date actuals and then some of the changes that are required from the state. Recently, we learned that for law enforcement officers and for regular employees, there's going to be an increase in what we have to pay into state retirement. So that takes into consideration those increases, and again, those changes for inflation and wear and tear on buildings and equipment. As far as other line items, governing body, we reviewed those. Recreation, we increased some of those line items in regards to some of the events that we're going to be having with the 60th anniversary in years past because of the COVID pandemic. We'd scaled back on some of the funding for events, so we have included some increases there. The police department, as I indicated, there's a few capital improvement projects there, ranging from the computers to the drone to the vehicles. Public Works, of course, the capital outlay line item there has 3 vehicles to be funding, as well as increases based on just the rising cost of things. Sanitation with the tires for the garbage trucks, and then non-departmental, we've made slight adjustments for what the workers' compensation and property and liability insurance may be when we get those renewals. We have not yet received those. So as you can see, if we run at revenue neutral next year, which is projecting to bring in the same amount of ad valorem taxes as we did this year, it would put us at approximately $207,000 deficit. Now, if you guys will recall, the fiscal year 22 budget was very strong. It was very sound, and we put a great deal of money back in utility and the general fund. These increases are due to the capital request, some of the rising cost of materials, and the salary adjustments that were done in December. This also reflects year-to-date actuals that we prepared, and so that we can accurately budget for next year. But if everything runs as is, it would be at a $207,000 deficit. And unfortunately, we're just not able to run Ranlo in 2024 on what we were able to in 2022 and 2023. If you look at the second chart, this is a revised budget based on an adjusted tax value. Ms. Rowan and I have ran calculation on calculation to see what we could do to balance the budget and to be able to put some money back into fund balance. This is a 45-cent ad valorem tax budget. This would be able to sustain all of the projects that have been requested from department heads, balance the budget, and be able to put money back into fund balance. This, of course, is at your discretion. These capital projects would very much like to get the board's input on what they would like to see funding, if there's anything additional that you would like to see funded, so that we can work towards ensuring that we have a balanced budget that's able to certainly keep us in the good graces of the State Treasurer's Office, in the hope that we are able to be removed from the Local Government Commission's unit assistant list. I've been in touch with their office over the past few weeks. I've kept them up to date to where we are on this process, and I've assured them that we will continue to comply with the most recent upcoming deadline that we send them year-to-date actuals at the end of the month to show them where we are as of the end of the 8th month of the fiscal year. Glad to entertain any questions, comments, and would certainly yield to the board's discretion on what you guys would like to see in regards to some of these projects. There is no utility increases provided for in the water sewer fund. There have been just changes similar to what we did in the general fund. For the utility fund, more accurately assessing the water purchased, the sewer purchased, we have moved one of the 4 vehicles that Mr. Green's requested into the POW bill as a capital outlay request there, and we've actually we put half of an employee's salary from the utility fund into stormwater in order to alleviate some of the burden on the utility fund. So that's what I have for your consideration tonight. I would certainly welcome any conversation, discussions, and comments on the capital projects that have been requested, tax rate, utility fees, or anything the board would like to discuss at this time as we move forward.
I noticed one thing on the code enforcement from last year. We budgeted $40,000, and this budget went down $12,000.
Initially, we had a lot of cases that were open with code enforcement. It's running approximately $2,000 per month that we're currently spending on code enforcement, so that number more accurately reflects really the needs of where we are now. That may fluctuate based on complaints that come in, based on whether or not we decide in the future that we want to continue with the company that we're using. But with that $24,000, that is a rough estimate of where we are on the 8-month actuals. That's roughly about $2,000 a month that we're expending for code enforcement.
Do these numbers, the salary figures especially, do they include cost of living raises, bonuses?
They do not. They do not include cost of living adjustments. They include where we were for the last fiscal year. The last fiscal year did provide a bit of a buffer for Christmas bonuses, as we have in years past. But this is these salary line items equal what the board approved in December, with slight buffer based on what we did in fiscal year 23.
So just bonuses?
Yes, ma'am.
And the difference in the sanitation towers went up quite a bit.
Right.
Is that realistic numbers, or is that?
Yes, this would be replacing all of the tires on all of the garbage trucks that we have in the upcoming budget. If I'm not mistaken, $20,000 is what we budgeted to replace the tires on our garbage trucks.
And they're all in need of replacement?
We've purchased all of them, less one to park in at the same time, so they are all on rotation to need to be changed, if I'm not mistaken.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have all our new meters been put on? Are all of our new meters in place?
All of our new meters, less maybe 100 that we have in place currently. We have a little over 1,500 that have been installed, and
Right now, we sit at 1,633 meters, and we got roughly about 55 more to go. But Mueller, our supplier, they didn't send enough, and they don't have enough ready to send to us.
So less 55, but we've been able to install about 1,600 meters. which was an excellent project that was completely funded from the North Carolina General Assembly in order to be able to get those meters, which has helped tremendously with identifying leaks in real time, with being able to eventually cut water on and off here from Town Hall, and then be able to report and accurately reflect our lost water report, which we were working on yesterday, which we are tentatively sitting at 12% lost water for last year, for year 22, which is a decrease from the prior year, which is phenomenal, and a great testament to the wonderful work that our Public Works Department does.
And as Gastonia talked about a increased water rate.
I was assured last year there would not be an increase this year, and there have been no talks. No talks been increased this year, which leads me to believe that there will not be. In prior years, they have let us know much sooner than now. I do not anticipate at this time that Two Rivers will be implementing a utility increase, Mr. Bell.
So I just wanna. So my current property taxes under the new
Mhm.
valuation for Ranlo only,
Mhm.
is $2,052.
Under the 50-cent rate.
And at 45, it'd be 1847.34. Currently, I pay $11.75.
Can I have those numbers one more time, Ms. Gordon?
So my previous reval,
Mhm.
right, I paid $11.75
$11.75.
on random taxes. At 50 cents, if we don't change the rate,
Mhm.
right, I would pay $2,052. If we drop it to 45 cents, I would pay $18.47.
18%.
Which is still a $700 increase.
Mhm.
I'm having a little bit of heartburn from that. But I also don't see a place where we can, every year we've done this budget, we found places where we could make cuts and found things that we could do. And put it off another year, and I think we're past that point.
And to Ms. Cordell's point, she's exactly right. After the recent valuation, property values in Ranlo shot up north of 70% across the town. That's one of the largest revals that we've seen in quite some time. There have been many appeals. Appeals are actually scheduled for tomorrow here at Town Hall. The tax office is advised to conservatively budget because there's uncertainty based on where those numbers are going to fall. Revals, of course, can be conducted every 4 years, but have to be conducted every 8. They're done for many different reasons, one being to more accurately reflect the values of property, and in order to ensure that municipalities and counties are able to, in order to provide services to ensure that services can be provided in 24, 25, and 26 on a tiered rate, because it's just not reasonable to believe that we can run Ranlo in 2027 on what it's costing in 2023 based on what we're looking at even in the last year alone. The three things that I have listed that we can do in order to address this is we can cut some of the costs by decreasing some of the services with capital improvement projects that are capital projects. That would decrease some of the budget and give us buy us some time for another year. We would be able to decrease some of these line items in the capital project line items. We can increase rates based on in the utility fund to alleviate some of the burden on the general fund with some of the employees that work in both departments, or we can drop the rate. But unfortunately, if we do drop the rate based on this math, based on what we're looking at for the projected years, if we drop a significant amount this year, it is a mathematical certainty that we will have to go up in order to sustain services the way that we currently are providing them, if not next year, the year prior, just based on the economy, based on the cost of things, based on the rising cost of things. So it, of course, was the Gaston County's decision to do a reval this year. I think this was larger than anyone thought that the values were going to be. As I said, Ms. Rowan and I have ran these calculations many times. We'll certainly make work whatever rate you guys want to set for the tax rate. We certainly have a plan to implement based on what you guys decide to do, based on the tax rate, in order to balance the budget and to put surplus in. The 45 cent was the least that we could come up with in order to be able to put any money back into the general fund and the utility fund.
And to be clear, I'm not faulting you for this.
Sure.
Because, like I said, I don't, looking at the requests, they're all very reasonable requests and they're all pretty necessary. It's very difficult for me to kind of mentally deal with this because while my family can afford a tax hike, we are very fortunate. And we have a lot of seniors on fixed incomes and their incomes are not going up.
Right.
So, you through? Okay. On the black list here,
Mhm.
what percentage is that based on? I know you're saying that it's at the amount that we would take.
Roughly 33 cent on the $100 valuation.
All right, so on the administration salaries, on that, you've got 101,
Mhm.
and then it increases to 202.
Yes.
On the 45.
Yes, sir. On the black column, that splits the finance director position and the town manager position half between the general fund and half the utility fund. If the tax rate were higher, there would be more discretionary funds in the general fund. So in the green column, that includes the full salary for the finance director position and the town manager position in administration, which in turn frees up those funds in the utility fund to help relieve some of that pressure. With more money in the general fund, we're able to transition some of the salaries out of the utility fund to free up that money towards fund balance appropriation.
And these requests from, say, Public Works, this is vehicles that you've been asking for 3-4 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
Certainly since I've been here, yes.
And I think some of those are getting to where we might be spending more in repairs than we would be, buying.
Well, and if we don't fund it and it breaks down and then we have to buy it, what's the point of having not funded it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's to your point.
Yeah. We would kick the can down the road, on that part of it.
Can you,
And Mr. Mayor, going back to your point, if you look on the black left-hand column, you see that in the utility fund, at revenue neutral, it's projected to run at a $48,000 deficit. And then on the right-hand side, the green numbers show a $73,000 surplus. That would be moving those salaries up. It would eliminate the deficit and then give a surplus by moving those salaries out of the utility into general. That would account for that difference in the administrative side, and also for half an employee in Public Works.
And when we have those issues, like say on Duff Street that
Mhm.
we have with the pump station, how much does that cost us in an event, in a bad event?
Right. I mean, it depends on a variety of things. If we have to call to have the lift station pumped out, if we have to call for a contractor to come out, depending on the severity of the break, if it's electrical, if it's mechanical, I mean, it could vary anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000, $40,000, $50,000,
So
depending on the
reason I ask
issue.
is because in this line item, in the sewer, the surplus with that tax rate would be $73,000. And that's just a little over one major disaster.
Right,
It
and I,
seems like every time we have a major rainstorm, we have an issue.
right. I mean, we've had two major sewer issues within the last 90 days. We had an issue with a sewer line on Ridge and a issue with a sewer line on Crossway Circle, just in the past few few months. So you're exactly right, Mr. Fowler. Our recently adopted capital improvement plan that we put into effect a couple years ago showed the Duff Street rehabilitation project somewhere around $500,000. That was in 2021 dollars. You have to suspect that it's probably 15 to 20% more now, so upwards of $500,000 for rehabilitation to some of those lift stations that that are dated, that have quite a strain on them, and as you said, are within one major rainstorm, one major electrical failure of costing a great deal of funds to be able to remedy. Yes, sir. Are there any questions regarding the request from the department heads that were submitted? I know I sent out information to you guys with a chart showing what they wanted. Are there any reservations, questions, or comments that you guys would like to make on those?
When they really request a lot.
Does Jason have anything to present?
No, sir, Commissioner, I don't, I mean, it's bare. And like you said, it was big, because it's been asked for 3 or 4 years now. Put a new transmission in one, another one rebuilt, got 2 knocking. It's just, that fleet of vehicles was bought in 16, 17, the entire fleet.
And the Public Works Director did an excellent job putting together a presentation with the needs, request, and specific details for why he needed, or why he was making the request that they had. I believe they were included in the agenda packets for the, in the memo. So Mr. Green's letter, as well as these quotes and information that he and I and Finance Director went over last week, those are all included in your packet as well.
On the Christmas lights,
Mhm.
rewiring, what is your thoughts there?
There's just, I put it in every year, just because every year we get to that Christmas time and they don't work. We got the screw-in fuses, and you know, they're getting harder for me to go try to find, and
Right,
it's just gonna be 1 year that we're not gonna be able to put them up, or the wire's really brittle. I think we're having to jump from neutrals to hots to get them to run, and it's very aged.
And-
The most I've seen, the biggest problem was, and I used to address it with the other administrations, is that the way your service is down here, it's not in the middle of the lights, which most towns, they sort of put them in the middle. And you have like almost half a mile to run the power, so what happens, you have a voltage drop, and that's why it's so dim up on the other end. There's some things you can do. There's a transformer you can put in line. It's called a buck and boost, and it increases your voltage. So that would be
$30,000.
that would be a minimal effect, you know, to get that. And as far as the replacement of those boxes, I think there's a couple of them that's broken, and water's getting in them. I know one out at the 4 corners, but Lowell don't even have a box. They have handy box. They ain't even weatherproof on most of theirs. And it's unbelievable. And they, year after year, they just plug in. It's still working.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
And I'd like to see that we, go up towards Nixon a little more, but under the conditions of this financial situation, I just don't think that's money we need to spend.
And I would
to
note,
add to the Christmas lights.
and I would note that as Ms. Rowan and I worked to revise this budget and come up with additional proposals today, neither the black nor the green column include that $30,000 for rehabilitation of rewiring of the Christmas lights. I did remove that, but if that is something that you guys would like to see funded, we can certainly add that into the capital outlay line item for recreation. That would just essentially mean a $30,000 decrease in what we were projecting to put back into fund balance, which would put us at approximately 60,000 in the
I
general
think we
fund.
can hold off another year on that.
I mean, since we're talking about Christmas in March, there has got to be new technology out there.
Mhm.
Can you look at getting new lights?
Mhm.
Not necessarily the same style, something different
Mhm.
that might be easier to maintain and more sustainable?
I can certainly pull some proposals from Square, absolutely.
No, exclusive sale.
All of it, yeah.
Oh,
Instead of putting up the same 50-year-old Christmas lights and just
Fifty
rewiring.
years old, what's wrong with you?
Let's
Town's hardly that old.
find something,
You know, and another point to Katie's point, you know, that $700 increase is on just her, you know, there's the other part of that tax rate too is the county. You know, they're trying to come down too, and, you know, we're at a minimum and they have more money to deal with than we do, so hopefully we can get them to come down too, and the burden won't, it'll just shift from one to the other,
well,
not,
the numbers that I ran were just for them.
yeah.
What are they saying, two?
The mayor and I attended a mayor-manager's luncheon a couple of weeks ago where County Commissioner pledged that they would be undertaking the largest decrease in Gaston County history. Of course, the rumor mills are spending, I'm looking anywhere from 15 to 20 cents is what seems to be the general consensus they're looking at cutting. So Ranlo is 81, just county tax, so 15, 20 cents of that. But that, of course, isn't set in stone until such time as the Board of Commissioners adopt their budget in June.
Isn't their current largest tax cut 2 cents?
I believe they decreased by 2 cents
Yeah.
last year.
Low bar.
So that's the biggest tax chunk of your tax bill goes to the county, is my point. I've got a concern too, is if 45 cents is enough, since I'm worried about that sanitation down in Dove Street.
Okay. What were you thinking, Mr. Bell?
Somebody else got ideas on maybe another penny?
Well, if you look at the situation that we're in with everybody receiving these large tax increases, I mean, a lot of people is gonna see it in their mortgage increasing. You don't have to, I mean, 90,000 going into fund balance is not necessary. I mean, we have a healthy fund balance. We don't have to put 90,000 into it. I mean, I know that we get a great return off of that money. I mean, what was it, $300 last year? I know you wanna have a healthy fund balance, but, you know, I don't know about putting it on the backs of the people or going without something that the town needs. Increasing taxes just so you can get the 90,000. And like Jonathan says, last year, when the budget was said and done, we found more money. Was it 80,000, something like that?
We had a very strong year in both the utility and general fund. Yes, yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. In order to break even, it would require a 38-cent tax increase, or 38-cent tax rate approximately. That's just balancing, not putting anything into fund balance, not taking anything out. Anything less than 38 cents would require an appropriation from the fund balance to balance the budget, based on rough approximations for where we are right now.
Okay, and then next year, when if costs go up 35% again, and we're running a perfectly even budget,
Have to get more taxes. I don't think we need to go lower than 45 cents.
We don't probably need to try to budget next year tonight.
you have to account for it. You
Well,
absolutely-
we don't know
yes.
what's going to take place.
They're not gonna
next
redo
year.
it.
But that would just be a thought. I mean, that's all I'm saying. If you wanted to really, consider cuts and stuff, I would look at first the amount we put in fund balance. Seeing that we have a healthy fund balance.
Are we here on the fund balance, anywhere what the LGI wants us to be?
We had in 2020 we had approximately 20% fund balance. This last audit that was accepted from the local government commission put us at 67%. So we have not received word from the response letter that we sent to the LGC in regards to the fiscal year 22 audit, but I suspect they will be quite pleased with that jump over a 2-year period.
That puts us above average, right?
It puts us where our peers, where the majority of our peers are in the county. I know we did an evaluation through Davenport Public Finance a couple of years ago that showed some of our peers and where we were listed with them. So I think that puts us at least at or above where the majority of our peers, certainly here in Gaston County, are.
Well, not only that, our debt service is very
Right.
I mean, what is it? Very low.
We had the payment on the police vehicles. We paid off the garbage truck that we borrowed the money for in 2020. So currently, the only per se debt that we have currently in fiscal year 23 is the debt that we have on the police cars that we financed last year.
So it's approximately, what was it, 30,000 a year on that?
I believe so, 35 for a 5-year period.
Wow. We're pretty good on our debt service. 66% fund balance.
I'm sorry, it's 18,000 over a 5-year period.
Oh, yeah, I thought we did three.
The vehicles themselves were 40,000 each.
That's just a thought, but something to consider, seeing that we do have a healthy fund balance. 38. So this is 45, we're saying 38. So maybe go in the middle.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you share the benefits of having a healthy fund balance?
Sure. Fund balance is essentially a savings account that the town has, a rainy day fund should something go wrong, and it's also a major factor that the state looks at when they're evaluating the financial health of the town. It's also taken consideration with bonding ratings and things of the like. As I said, in fiscal year 20, when we were eventually caught up with audits, it showed that we had a 20% fund balance, which was a decrease from around 127% fund balance in 16-17. That was due to the fact that we did buy those garbage trucks, we did buy a new fleet of vehicles, and in lieu of financing, it was paid directly from the fund balance, which showed that dip. In fiscal year 22, it did show that we went up to 67%, meaning that we're able to account for essentially 6/10 of a year in our fund balance account in order to be able to sustain services. If we have an emergency, if there are long-term capital planning needs that we had in order to sustain some of the projects that we adopted in sewer, water, and roadway improvements, we could potentially adopt a fund balance plan to be able to fund those over a long-term period of time. So it's essentially a nest egg security blanket in order to show that we have money in the bank to account for anything that may happen and to be able to be self-sustaining without relying on outside funding loans in order to undertake these major improvements that that may be necessary in the future.
Okay, and as our town manager, what fund balance would be comfortable with for the town manager?
Sure, I'm very happy with the progress that we've made over the past few years, and I think that the local government commission will be quite pleased when they review the funds that we or review the findings that we submitted to them for the fiscal year 22 audit. I am very conservative when it comes to funding, and I always feel more secure, and I certainly feel that the town is more secure when we have a higher fund balance. I know that it reflects very positively on us from a state standpoint. It reflects very positive from us as having the autonomy and independence to be able to take care of needs that may arise. I'm very proud of the progress we've made, and I mean, that was a large feat. That was a very difficult conversation that all of us had 2 years ago when we talked about adjusting the tax rates in order to be able to build back some of the fund balance and making those utility rate increases to alleviate the disparity of approximately $350,000 that we were running in the red in the utility fund to get it back in the black. So we have made excellent progress over the past 3 years from a financial standpoint, and I think that our audits speak to that, and I think the local government commission will reflect that as well. So I don't have a specific number in mind, Ms. Connor, but I always err on the side of caution and certainly conservatively estimating some of these budgetary expenses, and certainly doing what we can to ensure that we're not putting too much of a burden on either of or any of our four funds in order to see and to see significant decreases in the fund balance, because that is always a red flag or a question mark that the LGC would raise if they see that we have had substantial decreases in fund balance amounts.
So what is the number, the amount?
There is no statutory amount. The LGC
right now, what are we
67%.
What's the number then?
The amount that we have in fund balance,
Yeah.
it would be 67% of our total operating funds. We have approximately a $4 million budget, so we roughly have around $3.5 million, I would say, in our capital management savings account.
3.5 million.
We have-
How much interest did we get off of it last year? $300?
Let's see. It's, gains have increased some. I can certainly get you those numbers. We actually just did a report today that showed we had approximately, at the end of 2022, between our bank account, our consolidated checking, our payroll account, our capital management savings account for our capital improvement funds direct allocations, PAL bill, and our general savings account, it was well over $8 million. I believe it was about 8.1 million. But in fund balance, and just loosely speaking, and I'm referring to the capital management savings account for just general funds, it's around $3 million, I believe. I don't have those exact numbers in front of me, but I do know that at the end of fiscal year 22, we were well over $8 million between all of our accounts together.
Does the fund balance affect our ability to get grants from our legislators?
It would certainly be a factor that the LGC would look at in evaluating our audits, which would be something that we are required to submit. With majority of federal and state grants that we submit, we're required to put our audits, copies of our audits in there that would show where our fund balance was and where it had been over the past 3-4 year cycle.
So a poor audit would reflect poorly on the grant proposal.
It would.
Yeah, and we've struggled for the past few years to get our fund balance up. So I don't think we should touch it.
You'd rather put 90,000 in this fund balance
Yes.
and get late interest rate off of it than to go zero in the fund balance and use it to balance the budget.
The problem is, we have included no cost of living adjustment for our employees this year. Or this budget as presented. If costs are going up for us, then they're going up for our employees too. And that may be sustainable this year because we did do such a large adjustment back in December, but is it gonna make it another year? No, it's not. And I don't think it's responsible to yo-yo tax rates. I don't, because we can afford it this year, but we won't be able to afford it next year. So really, is it just an election stunt if we're lowering taxes this year? And you're not even up for election this year, but that's what it feels like.
Well, and then two, we're not, as far as I knew, we're not interested in the interest we make off of the money in the balanced fund. I've not known that to be something that mattered, the interest that we're gonna make off that money. We just wanna have a healthy budget. We want to be able to look good. We wanna be able, that's money that is sitting there that we can, I think we have more power by having a good, healthy fund balance. We need that. It's not about the interest that it makes. We just don't wanna go backwards. We've come too far up to turn around and start chipping away at the money that we made in the past few years to get our fund balance in the good shape that it's in now.
See what you're saying?
I don't think we should take nothing from it.
But we're not. We're just not adding to it.
And 2 points. To the Mayor Pro Tem's point, in fiscal year 21 and 22, we did not provide for any cost of living adjustments for our employees, and unfortunately, we saw the consequences of that at the end of calendar year 22. We had difficulty with retention, we had difficulty with hiring, we had difficulty attracting quality candidates to apply for some of our positions, and we were fortunate enough to be able to be in a position at the end of the last calendar year to account for some of those cost of living adjustments and to be able to bump those up. So yes, I could easily foresee that in the future there would be a situation similar to what we just had, where we skip a few years in cost of living adjustments and we have to play catch up. And to Commissioner Connor's point, we have seen an uptick in the interest rate that we've been getting with the Federal Reserve raising the interest rate. Our capital improvement projects alone have yielded we have expended approximately $600,000 to $800,000 from our state capital improvement fund, of which was roughly 3.5. We've made almost all of that back in interest by sitting in the capital improvement fund for the last year and a half. So interest rates are rising. The increase in our fund balance in the capital management account is prevalent. I'll be glad to provide you all with a copy of those so that you can see the interest that we've garnered off of those accounts. But I understand and I see exactly what the Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioner Connor are referencing.
So if we finance vehicles, say the ones that we did finance, And what was the percentage of it? Was
The ones that we are tentatively looking to finance in the upcoming
the
budget?
ones that we're paying for now?
Yes.
Were, the ones that you've got a 5-year note on?
Yes, sir. They're 18,000 a year for 5 years.
That was a fixed rate, right? When we took the loan?
6.7%, yes, sir, Mr. Powell.
6.7%, which is roughly $12,000, right? Or something like that. Of interest in
Mhm.
each span.
Approximately, yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Just rough math. I mean, 94,000 total cost, and then we've financed, or 82,000, and we financed right at 92, so $12,000 in interest, just rough math.
So we paid that much in interest, and we got back $300 in 3.5 million. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I would rather use that money to buy the stuff outright instead of finance it, really.
If you don't have the money,
I'm not saying all of it, but, you know, as much as you can. In other words, using the 90,000 to not incur debt, but to,
just to pay that, might have a good decline.
choose not to pay interest. I mean, money saved is money earned.
I mean, but we
There's
still-
something to think about. We're just in preliminary
Sure.
discussions.
Mhm.
This is nothing set in stone tonight. We're just talking. We're just getting a feel of things, you know?
You see where that got us in 2013. The problem is when you pay for everything cash and you don't account for it and you don't behave responsibly.
And what are you talking about, 2019? We're talking about
All
$90,000.
of the
we're talking about
vehicles purchased outright.
$90,000 is what the discussion, going into fund balance or using it.
Right, you're talking about interest on vehicles that we finance. The reason that I think that it's advantageous to finance vehicles is because every year, year on year, it's the same amount for years. It's the same amount, it's the same amount. You just build it into the budget, it never changes. That's why I think that it's beneficial to do it that way, rather than just buying as things break.
I understand.
Now,
I'm not talking about, purchasing everything out of fund balance. Now, you know, if you wanna talk about the, 17 year, that was, necessary stuff that happened. And we had a healthy fund balance and we used the money. But, I'm talking about the 90,000 that we're looking at now, instead of putting it back into fund balance, use it more constructively instead of putting it in fund balance, saying that we have a healthy fund balance, 66%. That's all I'm saying. That's something to look at. I mean, you don't have to. I don't vote. Y'all do. I'm just saying it's something to think about.
But the
The 90,000
Maybe
is.
there are other areas we need to be making the cuts. And since we're on a good path with the fund balance,
Right.
let's keep that strong.
Yeah.
Let's not backpedal on that. Let's keep that there. That's our cushion.
Mhm.
That's what keeps us out of hopefully more financial issues that we were having in the past.
can you tell me what we're projected to put back in fund balance this year, at the end of this fiscal year?
It would be difficult to say without the completion, without the end of the fiscal year, depending on where we are currently. We're right on where we projected to be with revenue. We're approximately where we projected to be on expenditures. I think that roughly in this last budget, how much did we project that we would put back into fund balance in the general fund? Was it,
It was between 100 and 120.
I believe, yeah, it was approximately 100. It will, I feel confident saying it will be at least what we projected to put back into fund balance in the last budget. Without, we're just concluded fiscal year, or fiscal month 8. Depending on what continues to come in with prior year taxes ad valorem and the last trenches of the sales taxes, I feel that our projections were conservative last year for all of these revenues. So I feel confident we're going to be where we projected that we would be, if not higher.
So made very conservative projections for revenue. What are the, not less conservative, what are the realistic projections? That's my question. If we look at realistically what we should bring in, right, because we've got several years now to look back on.
Sure.
And we can more accurately look at these things, right? One of the reasons we went very conservative on revenue was to make sure that we didn't overestimate
Sure.
what we got back. But I think we've got a good baseline at this point to look at those numbers and figure out what our true revenue should be. And then we can look at the tax rate from there.
Just for two examples, ad valorem taxes, we estimated we'd bring in approximately $1.2 million. We brought in 94% of that to date, so approximately $1.1 million. So that's spot on, but we still have a few more months to go on that. Another one that jumps out that we're higher than we expected at this point of the year are garbage rates. We had projected that we would bring in $287,000 revenue. Garbage fee, we're projecting to be around $350,000 on that. So that would be additional revenue that we would be bringing in. Looking through some of these other numbers, sales tax. Sales tax Article 42. We projected that we would bring in $65,000. We brought in $64,000 so far, with a few more quarters, with 2 quarters to go. Here on the county hold harmless tax, we had projected to bring in $80,000. We've probably received all of that, and we're at $89,000. So the majority of these sales tax, the utility franchise tax, they were estimated conservatively, but not anything more than $10,000 to $20,000 for each one of them, because at the time that we projected that, it's impossible to know what the economy was going to do, impossible to know what type of sales tax we would be bringing in. But garbage fees are strong, ad valorem is going to be strong, and then depending on the rate that's set for the revow and what Gaston County eventually does move forward with the rate and the number of successful appeals, I believe that would be stronger than is initially shown in these preliminary projections.
So garbage fees,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only major outlier.
Thus far, yes, ma'am. Some of the sales tax, they come in, like we have for our Article 42, Article 39, and Article 40. 42, we projected to bring in $65,000. To date, we brought in $64,000. We'll get a good bit more there. Article 39, we projected to bring $140,000 in. Currently, we're at approximately $132,000, so we will hit 140 plus. And Article 40, we had projected to bring in $80,000. We're at $79,704. So within, I would say, combined, likely somewhere around $30,000 extra than what we projected.
So those in and of themselves are 2 to 3 cents of our tax rate. Those, like, think projecting it through
Sure.
60 years.
At assuming that penny is roughly 38,000 on the tax rate.
Here is what I would ask for the next budget meeting is, those numbers averaged out over 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can see, and you don't have to include this current year.
Okay.
The past 3 years. Average all the revenues out and show us what those look like. And then we can see what our revenue is from there and look at adjusting the tax rate. I think that's probably gonna be the most realistic way we can change the tax rate from 45 is to, more accurately project our revenues. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll look at 2021 and 22, and we'll look at our major revenue streams to see a rough average. They may be slightly skewed because of the pandemic, but we can certainly get a good idea. These were pretty spot on for fiscal year when we adopted them in fiscal year 22, but I will go back and cross-check that math to see if we can be, I guess, a little less conservative and closer to accurate on what they are for some of those numbers.
And we can still be a little conservative, but I think that when we're talking about hundreds of dollars
Mhm.
for our residents, we need to.
Absolutely.
Especially with garbage rates, it's like a
Mhm.
$70,000 or $63,000
Mhm.
difference. That's 2 cents on its own.
Mhm.
Did the fees go up in
For garbage rates,
waste management?
they did, and that's accounted for in the budget. Year-to-date actual in sanitation, that's something Ms. Rowan and I adjusted this morning when we were looking at the March numbers. For sanitation, we had projected that it would be 105,000 for the year. We're already at 88,000 for the year. So that's going to see a significant jump in the upcoming year budget, and I think that, sir,
135.
is that what, yeah, 135,000. When we did the 8-month average and multiplied that by 12, we came up with 135. So it could be, and that was something I know that we had taken into consideration last year when we intentionally put that garbage rate where it was, that Waste Management has been known to change their rates and change the contract throughout the calendar year. So the money that we're going to be taking in over that in the revenue stream will likely need a budget amendment to reflect the actual costs in the actual garbage disposal itself. I think so. We added an additional $30,000.
So still, we're still better off going to waste management than to the county landfill.
I believe so, yes, Mr. Mayor. The wear and tear on the vehicles, the time that it takes to go
Yes.
there, the gasoline,
It
the
will
employees.
spike.
Mr. Green and I were just saying that today.
Just with the bulk pickup, I think we went 6 times to waste management for
Right.
in one day.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Well, it's like when you're short on help too, everybody on vacation. And I mean, you basically have somebody on vacation every week, right?
See?
Pretty much.
Or short
So
staff.
hand every week. All right.
So we're not hiring any new employees. No one has requested that.
No, ma'am.
We're no longer hiring inmates.
We're doing $2 a day inmates to help with garbage on rough
All right.
ones.
We
Mhm.
are still keeping that.
We're looking at financing 4 vehicles in total.
Public
Yes.
Works, yeah.
3 in Public Works and 1 in Powellville, yes, ma'am.
Replacing the chipper truck or finding some sort of suitable solution for that. New tires for the garbage trucks, because I mean, I'm not, I won't say I'm happy. I don't think anybody's happy for the taxes to go up,
Mm.
but I think that these requests are reasonable.
Just thank God. Debt service is very low. Yep, low.
Any objections to continuing budget planning with the consensus that the capital outlay projects that are requested are fine to keep as is? I will certainly prepare the information that Ms. Cordell requested to accurately reflect revenue, but leading up to our next budget meeting, is there consensus or is there agreement on what we want to tentatively project for the tax rate, or do we want to postpone that?
With these numbers as they stand, I would agree with Doug that I think that we need to look at 45.
I mean, I still have some reservations about an emergency, but 45 seems on target. But
Those were the 2 things specifically that I was looking for the board this evening, directions, guidance on the capital projects, and then if there was a discussion idea of where we could project revenue moving forward into the budget planning process on the tax rate. Is there anything that you guys noted or would like to see additional information or projects that we may have overlooked or that staff did not bring to you guys? Because we can certainly make those adjustments, revisions, or amendments as you guys would like to see. Did I miss anything? Powellville is the only fund that would show to run at a deficit. We have a very healthy fund balance with our Powellville, and that would be taking a portion of that capital outlay to fund one of the vehicles, one of the payments of those vehicles out of there. The other 3 funds would run at a surplus, as is presented on the right-hand green column.
So we would run Talerville even.
with the fund balance allocation, we would take approximately $29,000 out of the PAL bill capital management account. If you look, PAL bill revenue,
Okay, I see.
fund balance appropriated.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
I was just showing you those funds would balance with the fund balance appropriated. Anything else on budget, guys?
I think it's I think it's a reasonable budget. I think it's, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Gordo.
Okay, moving right along. Next item of discussion is regarding the revised towing ordinance.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. If you will recall, I guess some 2 years ago now, we revised the towing ordinance to provide for no on-street parking on certain streets, particularly some of the newer streets and the new subdivisions that had previously been left out of our parking schedule. We've written numerous warning tickets throughout those areas over the last year or two, which have not been successful and have not been to very much avail. The police chief met with a magistrate judge here in Gaston County a couple of weeks ago to review our ordinance, and there was slight revisions that the magistrate would like to see to make it more enforceable, specifically citing a few general statutes that were not included in our ordinance. I have an amendment to the traffic code ordinance before you guys tonight. Essentially, all it does is correctly cite general statutes that would allow the town to tow these vehicles in the event that it is necessary.
I'll make a motion for you about this.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? So carried. Next item is the long-awaited installation of our new town attorney.
Do we have a copy of that? Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have Mr. Nick Tosco before you for consideration appointment as the new town attorney. This was decided at the last month's meeting. Mr. Tosco is here tonight. We have the oath of office, and if the mayor, Mr. Tosco, would like to step forward, we can give him the oath of office and we can install him as the town attorney.
Should I take my copy?
Yeah, if you want to take both. Nick, will you take that one as well?
Carolina, I'm sorry, but I am an NC State undergrad, so.
I feel just when it's going, somebody's reading it.
Bring it up on your Google.
Your office. I always thought I should swear on the code of ordinances anyway, I mean, that's what I'm really beholden to.
You got one out there? It doesn't roll actually. On himself. Get forgiven. No.
Don't you have one there, huh? You have
I have
one?
one at home.
Hey,
I didn't think to bring it.
either.
Did you go there as our undergrad or?
I was at the beach one year and I had a youth sweatshirt on. I sat on the beach and
Must have got moved.
Someone must have moved that. I don't know.
He must have got it.
Hey, anybody that's an NC State fan, I'm going to go in there, you go there.
You've been accused of stealing that.
You don't feel them, yeah, everybody's a good Carolina fan. Did they play today, didn't they?
yeah, they went.
Did they play? Wait, or,
Hmm?
did they, or, did, but we know.
I don't know.
Yeah, Joe Cable, yeah.
All you do is just-
Is it a good game? Did you watch it or?
Yeah, it's all out.
Oh, okay.
You never had a league, did you?
No, I never did.
I don't want to get in
Never let
trouble.
it.
Three of them voted against that. So how long have you been mayor for? It's my second term. In the middle of it, 2 years.
Still alive.
Yeah. Bang that guy. Pretty good at it. These are decision makers. The responsible ones, right there. So we got Doug down here on the end. He's also our fire chief. Oh, right. And he's been in the fire department since he was 12. They wouldn't let him join though until he was what, 16? Yeah. But he was out there working and helping, rolling hose pipes at 12. So.
You'd be very popular with my kids. They're dying to be firemen.
That's what I want to be when I grow up. Fireman. Hey, Dylan, the policeman have a Bible over there.
I'm not sure.
May have it in my car.
Hey, we're gonna have no session tonight? No session this time? Is that go? Oh, session.
No, I'm not. I'm actually I'm a unicorn. I was born and raised in Charlotte, so
The one
not much but
left.
left. Yeah.
So was I.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, where did you grow up?
South Charlotte.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Old
I grew up
Providence.
on what used to be East Mall, right next
Oh
to it.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. But obviously spent a lot of time. Yes, there, yeah. I never did in Ranlo. It's my first time in Ranlo. At least that I know of. I mean.
Okay.
Did you get lost?
What's that?
Did you get lost?
No. Directions took me right here, so.
Somebody got lost in Stanley there.
Yeah.
I'm also a Gideon, so
Okay.
we come up quick.
All right. Do I need to?
We'll wait on the.
Okay.
We got a big Bible with you.
There we go.
It's right
Yeah,
here.
the next one.
I switched to
Okay, if
three.
you would, please read that.
Sure. I, Nick Tosco, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and will obey the laws of the United States and the state of North Carolina, that I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the Charter and the ordinances of the town of Ranlo, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of town attorney.
Okay, thank you. This is yours.
You sure? Thank you very much. Looking forward to working with you all. I need to sign those documents, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Second one. Was there two? Was there a second one?
Yeah.
When is there a second one? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just one more. She'll keep one and we'll file one.
I'll take it. Sure.
And you can hold on to that one. You need to do. Okay. This one.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, other business, town manager report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things for the board and public's consideration tonight and for information. On Saturday, April 1st, we are going to be having a spring event from 11 to 2. We're going to have Easter games. We're going to have food, lots of fun. It's likely going to be on the ball field out here, weather permitting. So we are looking forward to inviting everyone out for that event on Saturday, April 1st from 11 to 2. We continue to make great progress on Boulder Court. Just this week, the final pipe was laid on Boulder Court, and we're going to be moving forward with concreting and piping over the next few weeks. So that will be a long-awaited finish to a much overdue project. Public Works Department, custom building, our engineers have done a phenomenal job over the last 6 months undertaking this very complex, difficult, and expensive project that was paid for from direct allocations from the North Carolina General Assembly. We're soon to move forward with Ranlo Avenue. We're awaiting final permitting to have bids completed with that. It's my hope that we'll be able to bid that project out at the conclusion of the Boulder Court project for the upfitting of that water line and then the extension undertaking of that. South Ranlo water line upfitting, we continue to work on permitting with that. It again is a difficult, long process when it comes to permitting with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality and working to ensure we have what we need to also put that out to bid. The town will be closed in honor of Good Friday, April 7th. There will be no delay in garbage pickup, and we will, Public Works and Town Hall will both be closed on that day. Continue to look forward to our 60th anniversary in July. We're working with our marketing team to amp up some of the advertisement for that. We have some preliminary designs that have been made. We want to work towards getting T-shirts. We have double confirmed with our bands, with our stage, with our sound system. So we're looking forward to July 28th and 29th for a lot of fun with the festival, or with the carnival, with the fireworks, with vendors, with our entertainment, and hopefully have a great time through there. The only last thing that I wanted to gauge the board on this evening is if you guys would like to have an additional budget meeting between now and April, or if you guys would like to do as we did this month and meet an hour prior for April and be able to work through it then.
We like the
Okay.
6 o'clock hour early so far. Is that right? Consensus of the board?
Okay. Wonderful. I will make those arrangements. We'll ensure that we have everything advertised, ready to go. Those are the only formal matters I have for the board tonight, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys may have of me.
We're gonna talk about the fellowships.
Yes, absolutely, I can. Last year we applied to get a fellow from the School of Government. Each year they have a certain number of fellows that they award to local governments. It's essentially a one-year full-time job where they pay essentially 75 to 80% of the fellowship. Benefits go through the School of Government. They get paid through the School of Government, and then we pay a small portion of the salary directly to the School of Government. It's a highly competitive program for students that are looking for an opportunity in local government, and it's a highly competitive program for local governments to apply to get a fellow. Last year, we were denied when I applied for a fellow, but I received word a few weeks ago that we had actually been approved this year. So starting in August, we are going to have a fellow that's devoted specifically to Ranlo, and it's essentially like a hiring process. They will send 3-4 candidates that are within this region for consideration. We'll interview them, and then we'll pick someone that would be a good fit. Ideally, in the scope of work that I submitted for the projects that they would be working on, I put a heavy emphasis on working on accounts receivable, accounts payable, working with the town as we meet some of the requirements the State Treasurer's Office has put into place, as well as assisting with billing in a variety of different projects. So we will be having a fellow join us in August, and hopefully we'll have more information about him or her in May. But I was very pleased to see that. As I said, we were not successful last year, and it's a very competitive process. So we'll have additional help that will be certainly a welcome relief that will cost us very, very little, and I think will be a tremendous asset to all of us here at Town Hall and to other departments. Thank you for that, Ms. Cordell. That had slipped my mind.
Now, once we get one, we keep one forever, right?
DOT, how did that
DOT.
meeting go?
Yeah, DOT meeting went well. Commissioner Fowler actually joined me a couple of weeks ago when we met with Randy Gates. The widening of the intersection continues to score very highly. I believe that 40 was the threshold, and it was scoring at a 43 for the widening of Spencer Mountain Road at number 7, putting an additional turning lane through there. They were committed to ratifying that, I believe, at their MPO meeting, where they would be submitting a new list of projects for consideration. It was interesting. We had brought up some other forward-thinking projects with issues in projects, roads that we knew would be a problem in the future, but they very quickly told us that the money that they had was not enough to pay for the problems that they had now, and they were focusing on that and not eventual problems. But hopefully the widening project will be at the top of that list, particularly with the support of the with the MPO with the town, and then with such a high score on that project, if I'm remembering correctly,
Yeah.
Mr. Ballard.
All right.
I was gonna bring that up.
Comments from the mayor. Had a good Kyle Fletcher barbecue dinner down in Cramerton a week ago with all the mayors and managers. All the mayors, managers were talking about their big residential projects of 500 houses or more going on. Jeez. So the county's growing. But it was a good meeting. Everybody had a good time. And I saved anybody from taking our manager away from us. But other than that, it was a real good time. Jonathan was the man, and he was the talk of the whole meeting.
I think it was Ranlo and the great things that we've been able to
Yes.
accomplish here the past few years.
Sure it was.
Right. Okay. Anything from the commissioners?
Well, I'd like to hope they welcome Miss Goldie to help him out. I hear she's doing great things, so I just want to say welcome. Glad to have you.
Yeah. Golden's at Highland in her senior year, and she needs a small amount of volunteer hours, and she's been coming in an hour and a half in the morning, helping us with some filing and keeping up with some of the projects that we have up front. So we're glad to have her, and she's having a great time, right?
We were told to say
Is
that.
she obligated to say that?
Okay, next item on the agenda is closed session. Would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second.
Motion, a second, all in favor?